a stab in the back, and an act of betrayal. That's how Palestinian leaders reacted to this.
We announced the establishment of a full and formal peace between Israel and the UAE. It includes the mutual opening of embassies, direct flights, and many, many other bilateral agreements.
The United Arab Emirates has decided to recognize Israel, becoming only the third Arab nation to do so. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed has framed the decision very strategically, saying the UAE has established full diplomatic relations with Israel to stop the annexation of illegally occupied Palestinian territory in the West Bank. Basically saying he did it for the Palestinians, that he halted the annexation. But did he really? Let's double check what Israel said. In the plan tweeted by Israel's top ally, Donald Trump, it clearly states suspend, not stop, not reverse, not cancel, suspend. How many times has Israel agreed to suspend illegal settlements only to start building again?
Building their state on the land of others. Israel has been expanding illegal settlements on occupied land for decades.
How many times has Israel suspended its attacks on Gaza under a ceasefire only to break it shortly after? How many times has Israel promised to ease restrictions on Palestinians only to set up more roadblocks, more checkpoints, and a separation wall? Israel has broken its promises innumerable times, and there seems to be a pattern.
The formal annexation was the part that was supposed to happen in July, and that's the only part that's going to be stopped. But I can guarantee you that tomorrow there will be more settlements that will be built. There will remain an apartheid system in place. Palestinians will be denied freedom.
In this latest deal with the UAE, it would appear that Israel has already inserted an asterisk. When asked about the normalization deal, Benjamin Netanyahu was quick to add that Israel will stop taking over Palestinian land for the time being. And that means...
They didn't say they're not going to annex Palestine or the West Bank. They said they're going to suspend the annexation. يعني مش اليوم بس بكرة بلكي. Not tomorrow, but maybe after tomorrow, next month, like this.
However, it was a confession, or maybe a slip of the tongue, from an Israeli minister that's raised doubts about the UAE's true intentions.
תגיד, אבל אתה לא חושש?
יש בין הליבי למדינות המפרץ מול המדינות הערביות, ודעת הקהל, הנה, בלמנו את זה, אבל ההיגיון של המהלך הוא מעבר לזה.
Wow, so the whole, we're doing this for you, Palestine, we've got your back thing is just an excuse. A PR move to sugarcoat the real purpose. And according to Israel's intelligence minister, Oman and Bahrain are going to follow suit. This must be how countries show their support for Palestinians these days. I wonder what Israel will offer. Maybe it'll recycle the good old two-state solution, which was all but scrapped by Trump's self-proclaimed deal of the century.
It's a great plan for peace.
No one from the Palestinian leadership attended the ceremony, and the Palestinian Authority president called it this afternoon the slap of the century.
It's the region's worst-kept secret that Israel has been cultivating relations with Gulf nations in the past few years, without giving an inch to Palestinians. Shared mistrust of Iran and technological interests have brought them closer. And last year, Saudi Arabia snapped up more than $300 million worth of surveillance software from Israel. Recognition of Israel by Arab countries has long been a bargaining chip for Palestinian hopes of statehood. Now, that recognition is happening, but Palestinians aren't getting anything in return. So that begs the question, is the Israel-UAE normalizing relations agreement brokered by the Trump administration a way for all three leaders to divert attention from the troubles they're facing at home? Palestinians are used to being stuck in the middle, having bigger players negotiate on their behalf. But in the past, their struggle was front and center. Now it seems the interests of global powers are all that matters.